Hey guys, Gary Nelson here talking about hot topics in the real estate industry. If you don't already know, I'm a real estate agent and a real estate investor, which allows me to offer a unique perspective here in the Branson, Missouri market. Now, if you're already a subscriber, then thank you and welcome back to the channel. If you're not a subscriber yet, I just ask that if you find value in this video and feel it was worth watching, then let me know it by giving it a quick thumbs up and consider subscribing to stay updated whenever I put out more valuable real estate content. So I really am glad that you're watching this because it shows that you care enough to learn and educate yourself. So thanks for joining me. Now let's get into the video. So here we are, it's February of 2022, and I get asked a lot how the market is doing, what's going to happen, are prices going to go up, are we in a bubble, when's the market going to crash, all those things, right? So nobody has a crystal ball, but I can give you my perspective, which is that I think we're going to see more of the same in 2022. So what does that mean? It means prices continue to go up. And why do I think that? Well, there's a lot of hints that I see in the economy, but I always like to premise my opinion on factual data. And I'll start with basic supply and demand. So on the supply side, inventory for residential homes is really, really low. Basically, before COVID, in February of 2019, in Taney County specifically, there were 674 active residential listings. Fast forward to now, there are only 162. So with 4 times less inventory, well, needless to say, there's a little bit of a shortage in available supply. The next thing that affects supply beyond current homes for sale on the market is how many new homes are being built. But simply put, not nearly enough since it's more expensive to build in Branson, mostly due to available materials and a limited pool of skilled construction labor relative to larger markets. So now that we know that supply is at historic lows, let's talk about the demand side. And I'll mention 5 things that I think are affecting demand in a pretty big way. So first is that interest rates are still extremely low. So when borrowed money costs less, it creates more of an incentive to buy now, pumping up the demand. Second is inflation rate. Right now, according to Bloomberg.com, the inflation rate last year in 2021 was reported at 7%. So when the inflation rate is about twice the amount as your mortgage interest rate, those borrowed dollars cost a lot less in terms of purchase power, which create another incentive, ultimately increasing demand. And third, and this one is pretty cool. So the average age to have your first child is now 29.3. And guess what? The average millennial turns 30 this year. And they represent over 20% of the entire US population. Now that's a lot of homes that need to be bought, which also increase demand. Fourth, let's talk about sellers. Because for a lot of sellers, they need a place to move into, so they're delayed on listing their home for sale and putting it on the market until they find one first, adding pressure to the already high demand. And lastly, let's talk about COVID. It basically just made people reevaluate their situation and perspective on life and made a lot of people act on making a change to better suit their lifestyle. Now, with all of these variables creating high demand, but with very low supply, the result is higher prices and less days on the market. So let me put it into some unique perspective. Let's say you need a new pair of shoes. So you run down to the shoe store and here's what you see. Now I'm going to make your shoe size a 3-bedroom, 2-bath, 2-car garage, built after 1990, priced under $250,000. And excluding new homes under construction. So you arrive at the shoe store and what you see is that the shelves are bare. There's only 2 boxes of shoes for sale. At the time of this video, that is an actual representation of the number of active listings in Taney County that meet that criteria I just mentioned. Now, you look to your side and you couldn't help but notice the long line at checkout. There's 45 people in line to check out. That, my friends, represents the number of houses with that same criteria that closed in the last 6 months. Pretty crazy, right? So as long as the rate of new construction stays really low and potential sellers have to wait for the perfect place to come on the market, and the incentive of low interest rate mortgages and an alarming increase in inflation rate paired with lots of new families entering the market, I think it's safe to say that supply stays really low and demand stays extremely high. So if you're a buyer, I actually think now is a great time to be buying. It's just a slow and sometimes frustrating process in this current climate. But if you're a seller, I really hope you enjoy cashing big checks. And that's my superpower as a real estate agent, in that I've put together a solid strategy to achieve absolute top dollar when we're in a rising market. And I tell my sellers that now could actually be the most ideal time to sell because interest rates are expected to rise quite a bit. And that will affect affordability and could slow down these price hikes and make for longer days on market as well. Really interesting stuff. But whether you're a buyer or a seller, I'd love to chat with you about what I can bring to the table and get you negotiating from a position of strength. So I do want to thank you for watching this video. If you found it helpful, I think you'll like the next one we put together as well. And don't forget to like and subscribe to my channel for more useful content and drop a comment below if you have any questions. I'm Gary Nelson, and I'll see you in the next video.